let me ask you something. What if I told you that someone close to you is going to lie to you today? And the really scary part, you probably won't even notice. Today, we're going to unlock the secrets that detectives and secret agents use to see right through all that deception. So how do you actually do it? Let's dive in. Look, it's an uncomfortable question. I get it, but it's a really important one. See, deception isn't just for spies and villains in the movies. It happens all the time in our everyday lives, with our friends, our family, even our colleagues at work. The real question is, can you actually tell when it's happening? Because check this out. Research suggests that most of us are lied to up to 200 times every single day. I know, it's a crazy number. From those tiny little white lies to some really big deceptions, they all add up and they shape the world around us, often without us even realizing it. And that's really the heart of the matter, isn't it? When we can't tell the truth from fiction, we're not just being fooled, we're operating on bad information. We're making decisions based on stories that just aren't real, and that affects our relationships, our work, pretty much everything. Okay, so here's the good news. Spotting a lie, it's a skill. It's not magic. It's not a superpower you have to be born with. It's a set of techniques that anyone can learn and practice. And these are the exact same proven techniques that the pros use to get to the truth. And today, we're going to break them all down. So here's the plan. We're going to build you a secret toolkit, and it's all built on 3 core pillars. First, knowing a person's normal behavior. Second, asking the right kinds of questions. And finally, decoding the reaction that they just can't control. All right, let's start with the absolute foundation of lie detection. This is the big one, the trick that FBI agents swear by. Before you can ever spot what's abnormal, you first have to know what's normal. And that normal is what we call their baseline. You can think of it like their default setting. So when someone is just chilling, relaxed, talking about the weather and has no reason to lie, pay attention. How fast do they talk? How do they sit? What do they do with their hands? This is the crucial data you're going to use for comparison later. And this is the key. A lie isn't one specific thing, like touching your nose. It's a change in behavior. So if your friend who always talks a million miles an hour suddenly slows way, way down, that's a shift from their baseline, and that's your first potential red flag. It's the contrast that tells you everything. Okay, so once you've got a handle on their baseline, it's time to apply a little bit of pressure. The real secret isn't just listening to their answers, it's all about asking the kinds of questions that make lying incredibly difficult to do. So let's look at what we could call the magic question trick. A weak, simple yes or no question is super easy to lie to. Did you go out? Nope. Story's over. But a smart question, an open-ended one, assumes they did and asks for details. Now they're forced to invent a whole story on the spot. And that's exactly where liars trip up, because our brains find it way harder to create a believable story than to just remember something that actually happened. And this one is just brilliant. It's the double check trap. See, people telling the truth are just remembering a real event. But liars, they're trying to remember a fake story they just made up. And keeping those fake stories straight is really, really hard. So by asking about the same event from a different angle a little bit later, you can catch them in all sorts of inconsistencies they never saw coming. Okay, this next one is a little bit sneaky, but man, does it work. Lying takes up a ton of mental energy. Psychologists call it cognitive load. So right in the middle of their carefully rehearsed story, you throw them a curveball. Ask about something totally random that happened earlier in the day. This forces their brain to do 2 really hard things at once: keep the lie straight and answer your new question. Most people just can't do it, and that's when their story will start to fall apart. And now for the final piece of the puzzle. You've established their baseline, you've asked a smart question, now it's time to just watch and listen. You're looking for the truth their body is telling you, even when their mouth isn't. This is absolutely critical. For the first 5 seconds after you ask a tough question, a person's brain is basically at war with itself. The honest, instinctive part wants to tell the truth, but the conscious part of their brain is scrambling to build a lie. And in that tiny little window of time, their true feelings leak out through their body language. Now hold on, one of these signs all by itself probably doesn't mean much. I mean, nerves can make anyone fidgety. But here's the rule of thumb. If you see 2 or more of these signs all clustered together in that 5-second window, that is a major red flag that something is off. And it's not just body language. The words people choose give them away too. Someone who's telling the truth will usually make direct, confident statements. But someone who's lying, they're afraid of getting pinned down, so they use slippery language that gives them an escape route just in case. So when you start hearing these kinds of words, especially after a direct question, your internal alarm bells should be going off. Instead of saying, I was at home, a liar might say, well, I think I was probably at home. It's such a subtle difference, but that lack of commitment is a huge tell. And this one is my personal favorite, the topic swap. When you're getting close to the truth and they know it, a liar's brain just hits the big red panic button. They will desperately and sometimes awkwardly try to change the subject to literally anything else. It's a blatant attempt to run away from the conversation because they can feel the walls closing in. So, there you have it. We've covered the 3 pillars of lie detection. Now, let's just quickly put them all together into one powerful toolkit that you can start using. The really crucial thing to remember is that these pillars all work together. You can't just look for a weird reaction if you don't know what's normal for them in the first place, right? And you can't decode their reaction if you haven't asked a good question that puts them under a little pressure. It's a 3-step process: normal, question, reaction. And you know what? At the end of the day, you should never, ever discount your own intuition. These tools are designed to help you confirm or challenge that little gut feeling you get. If you've used these techniques and something still just feels wrong, you should probably trust that instinct. It's often picking up on tiny cues you can't even consciously name. So now you have the tools. But this new power, well, it comes with a new question, doesn't it? Just because you can spot a lie, does that mean you should always confront it? That's a question of wisdom, not just technique, and it's something to think about the next time you sense a story isn't quite adding up.